From now on, my daughter and her husband will live in this house, so you need to leave. Suddenly, Rosa, was told by my mysel Loretta to leave the house. To add insult to injury, my husband Arnold handed me a piece of paper. Huh? What's this? You'll understand once you see it. It's a divorce application. Originally, this house was purchased with my savings. Arnold, who only works part-time, couldn't possibly afford it with his monthly income. Despite Loretta and Arnold wanting to live together, I complied with their request. Why do I have to suffer like this? Well, all right. I understand. As I said this, the two of them were overjoyed. Now, at last, the nuisance is gone from this house. I didn't expect her to leave so easily. These people are definitely going to hell. Just you wait, I'll make sure you two are the only ones who won't have it good. 3 years ago, I married Arnold, who I initially met at the same trading company. After getting married, I resigned, but there was a reason for this. While working as an employee at the trading company, I often drew illustrations as a hobby and posted them on social media. At some point, my work caught attention on social media, and I started receiving many requests for illustrations, making up to $10,000 a month at times. I've finally started to make some good money recently. Really? That's great. Hope you can keep earning steadily. While saying this, Arnold supported me in continuing my illustration work remotely, and our married life was going quite smoothly. 5 years into our marriage, just when I started thinking about buying our own home, Arnold was laid off. It was due to personnel downsizing amid the recent economic downturn. I've worked so hard for the company, and this is how they repay me. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say to Arnold, who was apologizing to me in tears. All I could do was to stay by his side until he calmed down. A month later, Arnold started a part-time night job at a nearby grocery store, but his income drastically decreased, earning only about $700 a month. I have to work even harder. Since then, I've taken on even more projects, and our savings have significantly increased. With this much, we can afford our own home. Another year passed, and I decided to consult Arnold about buying our dream home. Hey, should we buy our own home soon? But, I don't earn much. Leave that part to me. We've saved enough, it's all good. Arnold, looking somewhat apologetic, responded to my confident declaration. Well, I know this might sound strange to ask, but could we get a house where my mom can live with us too? Dad's passed away, and more importantly, her house is getting old. She even mentioned that if we're building a house, we should live together. Arnold's father had passed away from a heart attack when Arnold was in elementary school. I was grateful to Loretta and understood Arnold's feelings towards her. All right. Got it. Let's respect Loretta's and your wishes and get a house where we can all live together. And so, Arnold, Loretta, and I visited a house builder and signed the contract for our dream home. The interior was largely influenced by Loretta's and Arnold's preferences. I would have preferred it in my own style, but oh well. If the two of them are happy, that's all that matters. That's what I thought, never imagining I'd be betrayed in such a manner. About 10 months after signing for the house, it was finally completed. I even set up a study for work, and it's so comfortable, my illustration work is going well. Rosa, thank you for building such a wonderful home. It's absolutely fine. I'm always grateful for your help. Loretta seemed really pleased too, constantly thanking me, and I was truly glad to see her happy. Life in the new home was smooth at first, but after 3 months, Loretta's attitude towards me changed. Hey, can you clean my room a bit? I'm a bit busy right now. Busy? But you're just cooped up in your room doing nothing, right? Arnold's been complaining that you don't work properly. Not working properly? What has Arnold been seeing to say such a thing? After all, this house was built because I worked hard and earned the money. I wanted to retort to Loretta, but thinking that perhaps Arnold hadn't said such a thing, I endured and reluctantly decided to clean her room as she asked. While I was cleaning, Loretta didn't help at all and just relaxed comfortably. After about an hour of cleaning, when I was nearly done, I spoke to Loretta. "Oh. Finally finished, I see. I'll be expecting this regularly from now on, thank you." Okay. I was too appalled to say anything. Why should I have to act like your maid? Loretta's remarks were infuriating, but what angered me more was the thought of Arnold. Did he really say I don't work? I decided to confront him about it at dinner. "By the way, I heard from Loretta that you've been complaining about me not working?" "Well, I did mention it a bit. My sister is working hard at the factory, part-time. Sweating it out to earn her keep, and you're always at home, right? Just seemed a bit unfair, you know?" Arnold has an older sister named Olive, 2 years his senior. Olive has a 3-year-old child and gets along well with her husband. Our relationship is pretty good, exchanging messages occasionally. Still, I couldn't believe Arnold actually harbored such thoughts. Hearing Arnold's true feelings left me in shock. I thought he was on my side. From the next day, Loretta's treatment of me became even harsher. It started with just cleaning, but gradually escalated to give me a massage and make me some coffee, treating me like a complete maid. Arnold, as usual, had no intention of looking for a full-time job. "Hey, isn't it about time you find a full-time job?" "Quiet. You're earning well, right? Then it's fine." Between Arnold's refusal to listen and Loretta's daily demands, my mental state was reaching its limit. "Olive, I'm at my breaking point. Please help me." "Are you okay?" After enduring this life for 3 months, I sought help from Olive, who acted promptly and sternly addressed Arnold and Loretta. Thanks to Olive, the harassment subsided for about 2 weeks. Then, one evening, as I was washing the dishes after dinner, Arnold said he needed to talk. "What about?" "Just wait. I've called Mom, so sit down and wait." What on earth am I about to be told? I waited on the living room sofa for Loretta and Arnold, feeling frightened. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Arnold said you wanted to talk." As I said this, Loretta and Arnold exchanged glances and smirked maliciously. Then Loretta slowly started to speak. "This house, it's going to be Olive's family living here. So could you leave?" LOL. What? What are they talking about all of a sudden? Confused by the situation, I was just shocked by Loretta's words. "Hey, you listening to Mom's words? LOL and this. Huh? What's this?" Arnold handed me a piece of paper. When I unfolded the half-folded paper, I realized it was a divorce application. I had no idea what Loretta and Arnold were up to. "You see? It's a divorce application." Arnold watched my reaction with a laugh. "But why must I go through this? I worked hard to buy this house with my own money." "What's going on with you two all of a sudden?" "I appreciate that you bought this house. But the thing is, Arnold has been suffering because you earn more than him. A person who can't show respect to her husband doesn't belong in this house. So, we thought of letting Olive live here instead." "Yeah, that's right. You've been having it too good, and honestly, I've been irritated. It's not like I wanted to quit my job, but you kept nagging me to find work. I was sick of it." I see. So, that's why they've been so harsh to me." I'm utterly dismayed by such childish reasoning. Since I bought the house with my earnings, I wanted to tell them they should be the ones to leave. But I'm tired of dealing with them. Ha. Okay, I understand. So, I should leave, right? Wow. That was quick. With you gone, the nuisance is out of the way, and we can live comfortably. When I agreed to leave, the two of them were ecstatic, holding hands and rejoicing. If that's how they want it, I'll show them. Just you watch. I'll make sure they get what they deserve. At that moment, I decided to seek revenge against the two of them. The next morning, I packed the bare minimum and left the house. Loretta and Arnold saw me off, but they didn't seem to feel sad at all. Make sure you file the divorce papers properly, will you? LOL. Just thinking about not having to see your face anymore is refreshing. We'll take good care of this house, so don't worry. They said whatever they wanted. Don't worry, I won't let you have your way any longer. After leaving the house, I immediately called Olive. Hello? Olive? Hello. What's up? Well, actually, I told Olive that I had been kicked out of the house by Loretta and Arnold. I also mentioned that they said Olive's family would be moving into the house in my place. What? What's going on? Can we meet and talk about this right now? It seemed like Olive was hearing about this for the first time. As she suggested, I headed to a nearby cafe to discuss the details. 5 minutes after I arrived at the cafe, Olive entered. Sorry for the sudden call. No, it's totally fine. Besides, I don't have a home to return to anymore. I said it a bit self-deprecatingly, and Olive's expression became serious. About that. I haven't heard anything about this from Mom or Arnold, and I honestly had no idea. My husband and I were actually planning to build a house somewhere else. Really? You didn't know? I had no idea. This was surprising. So Arnold and Loretta lied about Olive moving in, just to kick me out. Well, then there's no need to leave that house to him. I'm relieved to hear that. I was actually thinking about selling the house. Even if you were really moving in. This settles it. I'll make sure those two don't get to enjoy it. Yeah, those two have gotten way too cocky. Rosa, you do what you think is best. I definitely can't defend them after all this. It felt good to talk to Olive. I'm glad I could talk to you, Olive. Thank you. After leaving the cafe, I went to the courthouse and first submitted the divorce papers. Then, I headed to a real estate agent and told them I wanted to sell the land and the house, handing over the deed. Those two, unaware of this, are probably living carelessly. Every time I think of their faces, I get infuriated. According to the real estate agent, due to the good location and the newness of the building, a buyer should be found quickly. Please contact me when it's sold. I'll be staying at my parents' house for a while. I left the rest to the real estate agent and went back to my parents' house. When I returned to my parents' house after an hour's drive, my parents were there to welcome me. But they were very surprised as their daughter had returned home so suddenly. 2 weeks later, I received a phone call. It seems there was a prospective buyer for the house. They wanted to view the house as soon as possible, and it was scheduled for the upcoming weekend. Can I join you on that day? As a former resident, I think I can guide them through every corner of the house more thoroughly. When I proposed this to the real estate agent, they immediately contacted the prospective buyer, and the reply was, "We would appreciate that very much." Ah, your happy life is about to end. I can't stop smiling, imagining their panicked faces. And then, the day of the viewing arrived. As the real estate agent opened the front door, Arnold rushed out in a panic. Who are you? I'll call the police, Arnold yelled angrily, which intimidated the real estate agent, but I spoke up from behind. Don't worry about him. He has no right to say such things. Huh? Rosa, what's going on? Ignoring Arnold, I led the prospective buyer and the real estate agent into the house. So, this is the living room. While I was guiding them through the house, Arnold came to interfere with us, raising his voice again. Hey! Wait! What the hell is going on here? Hearing the commotion, Loretta also arrived. Ah, this is so annoying. What are you doing here? I'll call the police. The police? Huh, go ahead and call them. This house isn't yours anymore. I'm really sorry for the disturbance during the viewing. I'll just go and talk to those two, so please feel free to look around. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. With that, I took Arnold and Loretta outside to explain the situation. Arnold's face was red with anger. You were talking about a viewing or something, but why is our house being viewed? Yeah. It's shocking that you just showed up like this. They still don't understand the situation. Then, I'll tell them everything. Our house. What nonsense are you talking about? Listen, I bought this house. My name is the only one on the deed. Also, I talked to Olive. And the story about Olive's family moving into this house was a lie, wasn't it? That was, the plan changed suddenly. That happens all the time. Do you think that excuse will work? I spoke directly with Olive and confirmed it. The story you told, Olive had never heard of it before. As I said this to them, they bit their lower lips and became speechless. Also, I'll tell you who those people are. I sold this house. So now, the rights to this house belong neither to me nor to you, but to the real estate agency. That's why there are prospective buyers viewing the house today. Do you understand now? But that's so selfish. What about where we will live? I don't know about that. Moreover, if you don't leave soon, you might be reported to the police for trespassing, you know? As I spoke coldly, Arnold and Loretta began apologizing to me with faces that looked like they were about to cry. Don't say such harsh things. Don't abandon us. You know how little I make each month, right? I can't even live properly with that. Look, let's call off the divorce and live together again. Yeah, I think that's best. Such rotten people. I found myself slapping Arnold across the face in a fit of anger. Stop being so spoiled! Who was it that initiated the divorce? Wasn't it you? And isn't your low income because you've been too lazy to look for a job until now? And Loretta, aren't you too convenient, always pampering Arnold and trying to kick me out of the house? Let me tell you, I have no intention of taking care of either of you ever again, and I will never forgive you. Now, choose whether you want to pack your things and leave immediately or if you want me to call the police. I unleashed all my pent-up feelings, panting from the outburst. I'm sorry. We're truly sorry. Whether they were intimidated by me or not, the two of them hastily went back inside the house. Within 20 minutes, they emerged with their belongings and ran off somewhere without looking back. They were truly troublesome. They had the audacity to live off me without any gratitude and expected to continue doing so. They'd better live their lives in desperation from now on. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. It's all fine now. I don't think those two will ever appear in this house again, so please rest assured. After seeing off the two, I apologized to the prospective buyer and the real estate agent and continued with the viewing. 2 weeks later, I received a call. The sale of the house was officially finalized. Finally, I was able to sever ties with that house filled with nothing but bitter memories. Phew. I can finally relax. Just as I was thinking this, I received a call from Olive. Hi, long time no see. How have you been? Long time no see. Oh, about that house, it's been successfully sold. Really? That's great. We had a light conversation for a while, but then I started wondering what Arnold and Loretta were up to. By the way, what are those two doing now? Oh, they're living together in a cheap and dingy apartment. Arnold is still only working part-time at the grocery store. It seems like he's started to seriously look for a job, but at his age, it's tough to get hired. They're making so little that Mom is also working a part-time job stocking shelves at the supermarket. Considering everything, getting a divorce might have been the right decision for you. Olive was right. If I had continued living with them, my burden would have only increased. Haha, lol, that might be true, lol, I'd like to keep in touch with you, Olive. Is it okay if I call you occasionally? Really? That would be great. Please do. Let's go out for lunch sometime with my child. And with that, the phone call ended. I guess it suits me best to live my life alone, doing what I like. For now, I think I'll steer clear of marriage and relationships. Agriculture, huh? Sounds poor. Just completely mismatched with our family. My future mother-in-law said to me during a family meeting. I was well aware that my fiancé was the heir to a prestigious company. And I thought I understood what it meant to become his wife, how challenging it could be. But the words of my future mother-in-law were more cutting than I expected. She looked down upon my grandparents, who raised me, as mere country farmers. The arrogant future mother-in-law always stayed true to herself. This did not change even during the family meeting we had with my grandpa. However, Emily, haven't you realized? The shocking past revealed by my future father-in-law. Hearing this, the pride of my future mother-in-law was shattered. My life has been a whirlwind in the first half. Now as an adult, I sometimes feel that way. My name is Serena, I'm 27. As a child, after losing my parents one after the other, my grandparents raised me. My dad passed away from illness in my first year. And my mom suddenly disappeared in a car accident when I was in 4th grade. I somewhat understood my dad's death because others told me, but I fully comprehended my mom's. Perhaps due to the difference in my age, I had somehow moved on from my dad's death. But accepting my mom's took much longer. Supported by my grandparents, I believe I've overcome the sadness of being without my parents as I grew up. And they gave me unlimited love. To ensure I didn't struggle, they put me through college, always prioritizing me. I'm currently working as a professional in a company. In this industry-leading and long-established company, there are various people. But I never imagined I'd meet the president's son. Let alone date him. Serena, would you date me? Tyler was one of the employees seconded from a subsidiary to the head office. Only a few people in the company knew Tyler was the president's son. I didn't know until Tyler and I started dating and he confided in me. Dad said to work at the head office, but I wanted to see every part of the company for the future. Really? I believe in the necessity of starting from the bottom, even if it's not quite apprenticeship. Tyler and I participated in various projects together. He always worked more earnestly than anyone, taking on even the smallest tasks. When needed, he could lead and inspire the team. So kind, yet strong and dependable. Marry me. On our 2nd anniversary. At the aquarium, our first date spot, Tyler knelt down and proposed to me. It was a classic proposal. I'd be honored. With happiness and a bit of shyness, I accepted his proposal. When I told my grandparents, they cried with joy. Serena is getting a family again. It's like gaining another grandchild. My grandparents were looking forward to meeting Tyler. Having the family grow seemed like their greatest joy. I lost my parents, but my grandparents had lost their child. Our home lost its liveliness, and all of us tried unconsciously not to be weighed down by sorrow. For our family, my marriage was a very bright topic. I planned to bring Tyler home to meet my grandparents soon, but first, we had a family meeting with Tyler's family. Tyler's parents' home is, in essence, the president's house. That alone made me nervous. Moreover, the house we visited was magnificent from the entrance, and the interior was spacious and beautiful. Nice to meet you. I'm Serena. Oh, so you're the one. Serena, is it? Emily, my future mother-in-law, was cold from the beginning. Or rather, she had no intention of welcoming me in the first place. Emily is the president's wife. Going back in time, she was also a president's daughter. As Tyler told me, our company was originally founded by Emily's ancestors. And her grandfather and father had been presidents in succession. Tyler's dad, Kent, the current president, took over the company. I'll do my best too. But in our house, Mom's dominance always prevails. Dad and I are overshadowed at home. Tyler had hinted at Emily's nature beforehand, but the real thing was more impactful. Emily eloquently spoke about her family history. How she was raised in a distinguished family, maintaining her dignity. And how much effort she put into Tyler's education as a mother. Tyler attended the same elite school as me and our entire family. Yes. Not just yes, Serena. Do you understand what that means? Hey, Emily. Kent, be quiet. Shrugging off Kent's attempt to calm her, Emily glared at me. Do you understand the value of the school that Tyler and I attended, Serena? The kind of privileged people who should attend there? What do you think? Mom! Tyler also stood up, leaning towards Emily. But Emily, unfazed, turned her criticism towards Tyler. Tyler, you had such a wonderful environment and connections. How could you choose someone like her as a marriage partner? Hey, that's rude to Serena. Rude? Tyler, I'm disappointed. After everything we've given you. Enough about the house, the family, please. Yes, it's supposed to be a happy occasion. You all be quiet. What was supposed to be a meeting for the upcoming marriage turned into a family argument. I couldn't intervene, and in the end, Kent somehow managed to calm Emily down. On our way out, Kent desperately apologized to me. It's okay. I'm sorry for troubling you today. No, it's not your fault. It's our fault. The disappointment I felt seemed less than the shock Tyler and Kent experienced. Kent approved of the marriage, but Emily only reluctantly accepted it, not welcoming me. Whenever I joined family meals as a fiancé, Emily would sigh and express her discontent. Once, she asked about my family. I told her the truth, not hiding anything. How I lost my parents early and was raised by my grandparents. How we overcame sadness together, the three of us, supporting each other. How my grandparents worked hard in agriculture so I wouldn't have to struggle. I am nothing but grateful to my grandparents. I believe my parents are watching over us, but the love I received from my grandparents who were actually there for me. I still remember it strongly. I conveyed my feelings. The rest was up to how Emily felt about it. I hoped she would understand, even a little, but I was naive. Agriculture, huh? Sounds poor. Just completely mismatched with our family. Mom! how could you say such a thing? That's right. Emily, how far will you go in belittling people? Belittle? I'm just telling the truth. Emily and Kent argued as they used to. Kent apologized to me while scolding Emily. But that wouldn't make Emily back down. The meal ended in a heavy atmosphere. Serena. If you're fed up, you can leave me. Marrying me means dealing with Emily. I can't cut ties with her because of the company. Think about it while you still can. Hearing Emily mock my grandparents and seeing Tyler with such a tired, dark expression left me at a loss for words. But I managed to respond. It's okay. I feel sorry for Grandpa and Grandma, but I'm fine with this. Really? Tyler and I continued to encourage each other as we moved towards our marriage. I knew we had to meet with Grandpa and Grandma soon, but I wasn't looking forward to it. What should I do? As I thought about this on my way home, my face must have shown my distress. What's wrong? Why such a gloomy face? Did something happen with Tyler? Grandma saw right through me, and I had no choice but to open up about everything. I told them about Emily's personality and what she said about me and my grandparents, leaving them in silence. Well, I suppose we should meet them once. Let's have a dinner soon. Grandpa finally spoke up. He instructed me to arrange the time. But he insisted on a high-end restaurant. I was puzzled, but Grandpa just laughed. Don't worry, I'll pay for the meal. That's all Grandpa said in the end. On the day of the dinner, Grandpa arrived alone. Grandma, shocked by Emily's behavior, refused to meet her. Grandpa and I waited for Tyler and his parents, but Tyler messaged that he and Kent would be late. That meant Grandpa and I would have to deal with Emily first. Just the thought gave me a headache. As I held my head, Emily arrived, greeted us curtly, and sat down. She looked at me and Grandpa with a very displeased expression. You didn't have to match our family with a high-end restaurant. A lower-class place would have sufficed. No. It would be rude to meet for the first time in such a place. Oh, I made you worry. But I wonder how long you can keep this up. It's harsh to expect such standards from country farmers. Well, we prioritize living a healthy and honest life over money. Grandpa faced Emily calmly and firmly, without changing his attitude or behavior. Emily seemed displeased and spat out sarcastic comments and irritation towards Grandpa. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Tyler finally showed up. Kent followed him. Kent started to say something but stopped when he locked eyes with Grandpa. Ah. Hey, you two. Why apologize to these people? If we make them wait, that's how it should be treated. Hey, Emily. Kent's lips trembled, and his face turned pale with cold sweat. What now? Another opinion from you? No. Emily, don't you realize? Eh? As Tyler and I watched in surprise, Kent deeply bowed to Grandpa. Chairman, I deeply apologize for my wife's numerous rudeness. Please forgive us. No need, Chairman is a title from the past. President, today's not about that. What? What is it? Quiet. It's not what? This man was once the chairman of a corporation that saved our company from a crisis. Huh? What? I didn't know that. Emily has always been a haughty lady. Kent remembered calling Grandpa chairman, but Grandpa had once managed several companies. By the time I was a child, he had become a farmer, and according to Grandma, he had wanted to retire early from being a businessman. I had no idea how significant a businessman Grandpa had been. But according to Kent, Grandpa was a wealthy and well-known chairman of a famous company. Back then, The company I work for was on the brink of bankruptcy under Emily's father's presidency. With no hope for a loan from the bank, the company was saved by Grandpa's company, where he was the chairman and also a business partner. Emily turned pale and stiffened at Kent's words. "Let's have a pleasant dinner today, as a start to our future relationship." With Grandpa's smile and words, the tense dinner began. We ate cheerfully, without showing any irritation. Tyler and Kent seemed a bit dazed, but occasionally smiled and chatted with Grandpa. Emily, however, kept her head down and barely moved her hands. The wedding preparations accelerated after the dinner. We set the wedding date and planned the ceremony and reception. Marrying a company heir was more challenging than I thought. Emily was completely left out of the loop. After making a big mistake at the dinner, she seemed to have lost all her usual boldness. She was restless and awkward around me. When asked for her opinion in wedding discussions, she just shook her head. It was unimaginable she would ever be as aggressive as before. Emily, I have something to discuss." As I spoke, Emily tried to leave. "Wait, please. I'd like your advice on the dress design, color, and venue decoration." It would be wrong for me to give my opinion. Emily looked down, feeling worthless. "That's not true. You're familiar with dresses and know about glamorous things." That's no longer useful. "No, it's important to me. I want to talk about such things with you, Emily. I can't with my mom anymore." I had given up on doing things with Mom a long time ago. It was the path I had to live, and there was nothing I could do about it, even if I hated it. But deep down, I had always hoped for it. A wish I never shared with Grandpa and Grandma. I knew it would only trouble them. But I could confide in Emily. Even with everything that had happened, she would become Mom when I married Tyler. I needed to face her properly first. "I'm sorry. I never tried to understand your situation, Serena." Emily apologized with tears in her eyes. I silently nodded, taking her hand. Emily chose a beautiful red dress for me. "Serena, a softer shade suits you better than a dark red." Emily, who knew about flowers, helped with the reception venue decoration. Tyler and Kent looked on happily as I, the planner, and Emily gathered together to discuss. "I'm ready to live with my new family. Including my own life, I want to build happiness." "That woman, she's always been a liar." "Ha ha ha. Cancer, how exaggerated. She just wanted to skip work." These were the words spoken by my sister Miranda's husband, Martin, and her mother-in-law, Susan. Miranda is not someone who would lie. I can attest to that, having spent 25 years with her. I utterly despised the two who could say such things to Miranda, who is suffering from cancer and urgently needs treatment. It was unforgivable. I felt a strong need to save Miranda. I am Savannah, 25 years old, working in sales since graduating from college. I managed to join my first choice company, so my mind is always occupied with work. "Savannah, did you do overtime again today? Don't overwork yourself and get sick." That's what my dad, who has been a company employee for many years, often says out of concern. Dad is kind, has a big heart, and generally doesn't sweat the small stuff. He rarely gets angry, but when he does, it's truly frightening. I remember pushing a friend during a fight in elementary school. The friend fell and got hurt. And it wasn't serious, but my parents were called to the school. I still remember how scary Dad was when he apologized to my friend's parents and later scolded me in the car. He didn't yell, but his angry face was unimaginable from his usually gentle demeanor. I had thought it was my friend's fault for the fight, but Dad must have realized my reluctant apology. After being scolded by Dad, I understood the severity of my actions and regretted them. Mom passed away from an illness before I entered elementary school. I don't have many memories of her. But Dad raised me with plenty of love while working. So I never felt lonely, even on his rest days. My sister Miranda, who is 5 years older, has always been the one I can talk to about anything. Despite the age difference, she has been like a friend and sometimes like a mom to me.
Savannah, you've got someone you like, right? How did you know? I'm thinking about confessing.
I could tell Miranda things I couldn't say to Dad. Miranda and I have never fought. I adore her. When she got engaged, it was to a tall, slender man with a refreshing smile, who looked great in a suit. He had visited our house a few times, and I had met him on those occasions, but
I'm Martin, and I'm dating Miranda. Thank you for having me.
He had visited our house a few times, and I had met him on those occasions, but he greeted me with a refreshing smile each time. She seemed so happy since she started dating Martin.
I've been proposed to. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
I cried when she told me about the proposal. I was a bit sad we wouldn't live together anymore, but overjoyed for her happiness. Dad felt the same. He cried when Miranda told him about her marriage.
I'm sorry for the hardships I caused you since you were little. I'm happy you found happiness. Congratulations.
Miranda and I were surprised to see Dad's tears, as we had never seen him cry before. When Mom passed away, Miranda was in elementary school. She used to go straight to the kitchen after school and learn to cook from Grandma, who occasionally visited. By middle school, she was making dinner as if it were the most natural thing. She never complained, even though I knew she missed out on playing with friends. Dad might have felt guilty about it. Later, Martin came to a family meeting. He brought sought-after sweets for me and a rare brandy for Dad. I thought he was perfect.
I promised to make Miranda happy and never make her cry. Thank you.
Martin greeted us politely. Dad also looked relieved. I felt confident that Miranda would be in good hands with him. I learned then that Martin was the heir to a prestigious hotel. After the greetings, they happily got married. Just before Miranda left home, I found out she was going to live with her in-laws.
Are you sure that's okay? Won't there be harassment like in dramas? As newlyweds, wouldn't it be better if you lived alone? Savannah, you worry too much. Their house is big enough for them to have their own space. Did Susan seem like the type to harass her daughter-in-law?
Indeed, I had met Martin's parents at the wedding, and both were very cheerful and friendly. They were greeting everyone at the venue. Please take good care of Martin. And even poured me a drink. I felt reassured thinking that if Miranda said it was okay, then it must be. Miranda was able to continue her job, though the commute became a bit more challenging. I felt a bit embarrassed for worrying too much. On the day we sent Miranda off, I felt happy but also lonely, and I found myself crying in bed. Half a year passed. I hadn't seen Miranda, but we exchanged messages occasionally. Her replies were slow, but she seemed to be doing well. I had a lot I wanted to talk to her about, but I refrained from disturbing her happiness. As for me, I was still immersed in my work. Living with Dad made me realize how much I appreciated Miranda. I thought I had been helping with household chores, but I found myself forgetting laundry in the washer or burning the food, realizing I wasn't as capable as I thought. Dad just laughed and didn't get angry. Then one day, when Dad was away on a business trip, I worked late and was eating delivery food at home. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Wondering who it could be at this late hour, I cautiously went to the door, only to find Miranda standing there.
Miranda!
The Miranda I saw after a long time had lost a surprising amount of weight in just half a year. It was more accurate to say she looked emaciated rather than just thin. And her complexion was pale. As I rushed to her, she collapsed into my arms. I instinctively hugged her. I took the exhausted Miranda to my room and put her to bed. There were many questions I wanted to ask, but I thought it best to let her rest first. "Savannah, I'm sorry." Miranda kept apologizing.
It's okay, just rest for now. We'll talk after.
I rushed to the convenience store, bought her some drinks and fever-reducing sheets, and handed them to Miranda. "What happened?" When I asked Miranda, "I have cancer, but they won't let me go to the hospital," she replied in a hoarse voice, tears streaming down her face. It turned out, Miranda's happiness lasted only until they started living together. "Everyone changed the moment I became a daughter-in-law," Miranda said. She said that on the day of her marriage, she was asked to quit her job to help with the family business. She accepted this demand. After quitting her job, Miranda would wake up at 4 a.m. to thoroughly clean the entire house and prepare breakfast for the family and 10 relatives. Then, she would help at the hotel until the evening, followed by making dinner for everyone, doing the laundry, and completing the remaining household chores, not going to bed until late at night. She was only getting about 3 hours of sleep each night, which made my overtime seem trivial in comparison. Moreover, she had no days off. Every day, she faced bullying by Susan, who meticulously checked every household and work task. Martin, too, had changed drastically from his kind demeanor before marriage, becoming authoritarian. He didn't help Miranda against Susan's bullying, often siding with Susan and being harsh. Additionally, Miranda had a health checkup before quitting her job, where cancer was detected. Fortunately, it was found early, and she was told that immediate surgery could cure it. However, her family didn't believe her. She pleaded to be hospitalized for the surgery but was forced to work from dawn till late night instead. I was overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information. Just hearing it all made me tear up.
What? I don't understand. Why didn't you tell me?
When I asked Miranda, a shocking answer came back. Miranda revealed that Susan and Martin checked her mobile phone daily and monitored all her replies. She was told it was to ensure she wasn't slacking off in her household and work duties. That's why she couldn't ask for help. During our conversation, Miranda's bag kept vibrating with notifications.
Is that Martin?
Miranda nodded slightly.
I'll handle it. Miranda, you rest for today. We'll go to the hospital tomorrow.
I took Miranda's mobile phone to the living room. There were over 100 missed calls. When it rang again, I decided to answer.
Hey! Where did you run off to? Abandoning your duties, what a failure as a daughter-in-law. Martin? This is Savannah.
Hearing my voice, Martin's tone changed.
Oh, Savannah. Long time no see. Can you pass the phone to Miranda? Why would I do that? Where's that intensity gone? Miranda can't come to the phone right now. Martin, you know Miranda has cancer, right?
I wanted to yell at him, but I confronted him calmly instead. Ahahaha.
Funny girl. You believe Miranda's lies. She doesn't have cancer.
She just wanted to avoid housework.
What? On what basis are you saying she doesn't have cancer? Miranda arrived at my house completely exhausted and emaciated. I'm taking her to the hospital tomorrow. She won't be going back there. She's there, right? I'll come to pick her up. Don't come. If you do, I'll call the police.
I hung up the phone. It kept ringing, and I was scared they might come over. But fortunately, they didn't show up, and the calls were just continuous. I turned off Miranda's phone. I felt frustrated. I wondered why I hadn't noticed anything before the marriage. It pained me to see my beloved Miranda suffering. I couldn't sleep that night. The next day, I took Miranda to the hospital early in the morning. Her physical condition had deteriorated significantly, and the doctors advised immediate surgery, so she was admitted to the hospital. At the hospital, I requested that Miranda not be allowed to meet anyone who might visit, just to be safe. Then, I went home to bring the necessary things for her hospital stay. When I arrived, Dad had already returned.
Dad, something terrible has happened.
I had been too upset to tell Dad anything yet.
What? What's wrong?
Dad looked startled by my urgency. As I explained about Miranda, his face gradually turned darker, and by the end, he was red with anger.
What? I can't believe this. First, we need to go to the hospital. Let's go.
It had been years since I'd seen Dad so angry. We both headed to the hospital where Miranda was waiting.
Miranda, are you okay?
Dad, I'm sorry. Don't talk anymore. Just tell me what you want to do from now on. I'll take care of it. I want a divorce. Understood. I silently listened to the exchange between Miranda and Dad. As Dad was about to leave the room, I started to follow Wen. I determined to help her.
Savannah, wait. Take this.
Miranda handed me an envelope.
What's this?
Before I could check,
Savannah, let's go,
called Dad. I put the envelope in my bag and left the room. Dad and I then headed to Martin's house. Upon arriving, Susan came out. Finally, you've brought her back. Oh? She's not here? She spoke as if nothing was wrong. I couldn't stand it, and
Miranda has been hospitalized because of you,
I told them firmly.
Oh my. That sounds terrible. But it must be a sham, right? That girl is a habitual liar,
Susan replied without a hint of remorse.
What? A sham? Well, let's discuss this inside,
Dad said, and we entered the house. It seemed Susan was the only one there. Miranda's Fael must be at work. I remembered Miranda saying he was a workaholic and indifferent to anything but work. He had turned a blind eye to the mistreatment Miranda suffered. Then Martin came from the back.
Oh, long time no see.
He greeted us with the same refreshing smile as when we first met. Now I understood that these two were only good on the surface.
Miranda has cancer. It's not a sham or anything of the sort.
Ahahaha. Harold, you're exaggerating. It can't be cancer. I was astounded by Martin's laughing response.
Then look at this.
Dad showed them the medical report from the hospital. Susan and Martin looked shocked but quickly.
Oh my! It was true. We never believed her because she's always lying. Regular behavior is important, isn't it?
Susan said.
Miranda doesn't lie. What do you think she is?
I couldn't help but interject. A daughter-in-law. Nothing more, nothing less. You wouldn't understand, being single. A daughter-in-law is supposed to live for the family. Susan started spouting nonsense.
What? Live for the family by not letting her go to the hospital despite her illness, making her work from dawn to midnight? She said everyone changed after coming to this house.
Ahaha. She's lying about that too. She's good at lying, isn't she? Maybe it's because she's from a single-parent family? Being a daughter-in-law isn't being a guest. It's normal to be strict. No matter what I said, Susan kept laughing and responding. I felt like crying, but I clenched my teeth and held back, knowing I couldn't let myself cry. Then Dad spoke up.
The illness wasn't a lie, was it? Do you have any proof of her other supposed lies? Well, it doesn't matter anymore. It's clear from this conversation that you're unreasonable. We cannot leave Miranda in this house. We will proceed with the divorce through a lawyer, as Miranda wishes,
he said. He seemed calm, but I could tell he was trembling with anger.
Harold, please wait. Let me see Miranda. I'm sorry for not believing her illness, but as Mom said, Miranda often lies. And the claim that Mom was harsh and made her work from dawn to midnight is false. I think we can sort it out if we talk. Please let me see Miranda.
Martin pleaded with Dad, apologizing deeply. I was appalled that he still called Miranda a liar. And then
listen to this.
I played a voice recording. It documented Miranda's day from early morning to late night. 4:30 a.m., starting to clean. Miranda's voice was recorded.
This cleaning is inadequate. Look at this dust. A dusty woman like you wouldn't notice, right? Want to be thrown out?
Susan's voice was on the recording. In another part, I have cancer. Please let me go to the hospital, Miranda pleaded, to which Martin responded.
Shut up. If you have time to say that, work. Maybe working hard will cure it.
It was unbelievable. Susan and Martin were speechless, seemingly unaware they had been recorded.
Now, who is the liar? We'll be leaving. If you try to approach Miranda again, I will not forgive you,
Dad said, and we left the house, heading back to the hospital. When we told Miranda about the discussion, "Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for Dad and Savannah," she cried. "It was because of your recording, Miranda," I told her. When we left the room, the envelope Miranda handed me contained the voice recorder. On the day Miranda fled to our home, she had hidden the recorder in her clothing. Miranda must have known that her in-laws would pretend not to know anything. She realized she needed evidence. Her previous job at a publishing house had given her access to a voice recorder. Knowing Susan and Martin, it was risky. There was no telling what they would do if they found out. It must have required a great deal of courage. It must have taken a lot of courage for Miranda to record everything in secret. Later, Dad found a strong divorce lawyer, and the divorce was successfully finalized. I followed Miranda's example and recorded our conversation with Susan and Martin on my mobile phone. The fact that Miranda had cancer and they denied her medical care, coupled with the two recordings, enabled us to secure a substantial settlement in the divorce trial. The lawyer told us that the hotel run by Martin's family was in dire financial straits. They couldn't afford the settlement and asked to pay in installments. But the lawyer rejected the request without even consulting us. With the lump sum payment, it seemed only a matter of time before the hotel would close. Curious, I checked the hotel's reviews and found them to be quite low. It made sense to me. People like that couldn't possibly offer warm hospitality. A friend living near the hotel told me that neighbors had overheard our conversation with Susan on the day Dad and I visited. In a small town, rumors spread quickly, and it seems they were now viewed coldly by the community. Miranda's surgery was a success, and she was discharged from the hospital after about a month and a half, looking a bit healthier than the day she had fled to our house. She decided to spend some time recovering at home, continuing outpatient treatments. I was happy that the three of us were living together again.
I'm thinking of making Dad's favorite steak today. Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I can leave work early today, so I'll buy the ingredients on my way home. Miranda's cooking was incomparably delicious compared to mine. I couldn't be happier with our days filled with laughter as a family of three.